Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today responded to the revelations made by the Channel 4 documentary on the Easter Sunday attacks. Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the News First team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara, and as always, we start off by taking a look at your headlines for tonight.
Filmed by Channel 4 is mostly an anti-Rajapaksa tirade aimed at blackening the Rajapaksa legacy, and the story about Major General Saleh is clearly a fabrication, says former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Opposition continues to push for an investigation into latest revelations on the Easter Sunday attacks.
බුද්ධියංශ ඉඳගෙන එයා මේක කරා කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. ලංකාවට ආවේ නැහැ කිව්වට 2019 එයා ප්‍රබලයක් වුණා බුද්ධියංශ වල එයාට પાස්පෝර්ට් වෙනස් කරගන්න පුළුවන් ඉමිග්‍රේෂන් වාර්තා වෙනස් කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
Draft bill that would impose a 30% tax on superannuation funds that do not agree to reissue bonds debated. Trade unions protest opposite the parliament. MTV Channel Private Limited secures Sri Lanka broadcast rights for the 2 World Cups.
එළඹෙන ඕවර් 50 ලෝක ශූරතාවේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා විකාශන අයිතිය සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලය හිමි කර ඇති බව.
FIFA ලෝක කුසලාන තරගාවලියත් අප තමයි දේශීය විකාශන අයිතිය ලබා ගන්නේ.
In your top story tonight, former Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on Thursday broke his silence to respond to claims made by Channel 4 in its program on the Easter attacks.
Now, in a statement, former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said the latest film by Channel 4 is mostly an anti-Rajapaksa tirade aimed at blackening the Rajapaksa legacy from 2005 onwards, and it is a tissue of lies, just like the previous films broadcast by the same channel.
Now, he also said the story about Major General Suresh Saleh meeting the suicide bombers in February 2018 is clearly a fabrication.
Former Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa on Thursday issued a 3-page long statement titled, quote, "The latest Channel 4 film on Sri Lanka," unquote. He said that to claim that a group of Islamic extremists launched suicide attacks in order to make him president is absurd. Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that despite the politically motivated accusations being made against him by certain individuals, he had personally done everything possible to help the Roman Catholic community when he held government office. Quote,
"After the war ended, I helped in the restoration and reconstruction of the Madhu Church and the Church of Mullikulam. I also helped facilitate the agreements to invite His Holiness the Pope to Sri Lanka, and I headed the committee formed by the then government to organize the visit. I also played a key role in the construction of the Benedict XVI Catholic Institution of Higher Education in Bolavalana. I worked very closely with His Eminence the Cardinal during that period."
end quote. Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa also commented on the Channel 4 program that made claims on State Intelligence Chief Major General Suresh Saleh and the Easter Sunday terror attacks. Rajapaksa said that after leaving the position of Defence Secretary in 2015 and until he was elected president, he and Major General Saleh had no contact at all.
Quote, "Major General Saleh had informed Channel 4 that he had been removed from the position of Director Military Intelligence and was serving in Malaysia as Minister Councillor from 2016 to December 2018, and that he had not been in Sri Lanka at the time this meeting is said to have taken place. Furthermore, from January to November 2019, he was in India following the National Defence College course, and during the entire period from 2016 to 2019, he was not operative within the defence or security structure of Sri Lanka. After Major General Saleh was removed from military intelligence in 2016, he never served in that organisation again. It was only after I became president that he rejoined the intelligence apparatus as the head of the State Intelligence Service from December 2019 onwards. Hence, this story about Major General Saleh meeting the suicide bombers in February 2018 is clearly a fabrication."
End quote. Gotabaya Rajapaksa also dismissed the allegations made to claim that military intelligence was in league with the suicide bombers, citing the killings of 2 policemen in Baunathiu and the incident in Vanathavillua. He said that all Sri Lankans are aware of the government of 2015 to 2019 persecuted the intelligence services and particularly the military intelligence, and that quite a few of its members spent months and years in remand and in police custody during that period. Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that any claim that the military intelligence could sabotage police work during the 2015 to 2019 government is plain nonsense.
Quote, one of the allegations made against me and my government in this latest film is that after becoming president, I sabotaged the investigation by transferring officers carrying out the investigation. I assume that this is a reference to the former director of the CID, Shania Besekara. Leaked telephone recordings had revealed that he had conspired with a politician to influence the outcome of an ongoing criminal case in the High Court, and he could not be kept in a position of responsibility in the CID under any circumstances by any government. The police officers attached to the Presidential Commission to investigate the Easter Sunday attacks were not transferred after I came into power. In any case, there was a gap of nearly 7 months between the Easter Sunday attacks and my coming into power. An investigation should have been carried out during that period. SSP Besekara was also one of those responsible for the negligence between 2016 and 2019 mentioned in the Presidential Commission's report.
End quote. Former President Rajapaksa notes that as the Presidential Commission observed, the proper investigation of any one of these early incidents would have led to the early apprehension of the terrorists and the prevention of the suicide bombings. He said that it was the police and not the military intelligence that was in charge of these investigations. He noted that apart from the fact that he was not in power during this entire period, like many members of the intelligence services and armed forces, he too was going from one police unit to another and from one courthouse to another from 2015 till he became president in November 2019 as a result of relentless government persecution. Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that it is an outright lie for Channel 4 to state that when the report of the Presidential Commission to investigate into the Easter Sunday attacks published its report, that he refused to make it public. Rajapaksa noted that the report of the Presidential Commission was even tabled in Parliament. The National Movement to Build the Nation and Reconciliation engaged in a silent protest opposite the UK High Commission in Colombo against the conduct of Channel 4. Thereafter, a letter was handed over to the UK High Commission.
බොරුවට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ රැස්වීම වෙල අරක කරන්න මේක කරන්න කී.
Instead of ranting in Parliament, we urge President Ranil Wickremesinghe and the heads of the security apparatus to conduct an investigation into this without letting this become another political drama, and also take legal action against Channel 4 while revealing the truth to the country.
Comments were made in Parliament on Thursday over the Channel 4 programme.
We don't need Channel 4 because the country knows what happened. The former head of state was overseas and was shopping. There is a God above. God has started to punish them. The first is Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He was chased away from the country. There is another person who is trying to beg on the streets. All of them will be punished. There are many allegations from Channel 4 on the Easter attacks. I would like to tell this House that an international investigation is required. There is no point in appointing parliamentary select committees. Therefore, the government must agree with this. If we take a look at Saleh, during the 2010 presidential election, he got together with Bonsus Pereira and detonated bombs. I believe he did it while in the intelligence services. There is no indication of his passport. As a powerful member of the intelligence service, he could have changed his passport to return to the country in 2019. He can even change the immigration records. A prince on the other side said they never had the time for this and they were always at the FCID. These actions were done over the phone. He said they had no links with a senior intelligence official. Saleh is a cleaner for that Rajapaksa family. Therefore, we have no suspicion over that.
පවුලේ වැසිකිලි හොදව මිනිහෙක් හැමදාම.
බොහොම ස්තුතියි කරු දාසිරි රාජකර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා. මං කියන්න කැමති එදා කැලණිතිස්ස රජුරෝ තමන්ගේ දුව මුහුදට දෙනවා.
Back then, King Kalanitissa sacrificed his daughter to the seas to prevent a disaster from taking place. So did Ibrahim sacrifice his daughter-in-law to make Gotabaya Rajapaksa the president. Some media institutions and people who carry these tales forward assume that these lies will end the political journey of the Rajapakshas. Azad Maulana is a crook. If you ask from the people in Batticaloa, they will say how he scammed people. Now when he is trying to seek asylum and making up these tales, if the people are deceived by these tales, then God bless them.
මේ රටේ මිනිස්සුන්ට දෙයියන්ගෙම පිහිටයි කියලා තමයි කියන්න තියෙන්නේ කරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමිය.
The Samiki Vanita Balawege organized a media briefing in Colombo.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Mahinda Rajapaksa කියන පුද්ගලයන්ගේ මුස්ලිම් විරෝධය
Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Mahinda Rajapaksa created anti-Muslim sentiments among the people and they have no issues with the Muslims. I do not believe that Ranil Wickremesinghe was not aware or he did not act on this. That is his mistake. But now he can escape from that as well. He needs to suspend the service extension of Saleh and also those officials linked to this. Ranil Rajapaksa has two options. One is to protect the Rajapaksas. The other is to call for a criminal inquiry and dissolve parliament.
විශේෂයෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව විසිරුවා හරින මේ විදිහට මේක යන්න බෑ.
Sri Lanka's Justice Minister Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa said that an investigation will be carried out over the Easter Sunday terror attacks with international assistance.
උමන්ත්‍රණයක් කරා මහමොලකාරයෙක් ඉන්නවා කියන ප්‍රකාශය ප්‍රථම වතාවට ජනතාවට කිව්වේ හිටපු.
It was former Attorney General Dappula de Oliveira who first said that there was a conspiracy and a mastermind. That view was made public. He said this ahead of his retirement. He was tasked with finding out the root cause for this. He had the power to order the police chief and other police ranks to question people and investigate certain areas. He had the responsibility to steer the investigation in that direction. We have instructed the police to ascertain the information from the former Attorney General. However, he went to the court and obtained orders against recording a statement. It doesn't matter if it's Channel 4 or any other person. If information is given, we have already filed 42 cases. If there is any other person or connection, we are ready not only to probe it locally, but to investigate it with international assistance. We have a background report on this person called Maulana. He was linked to a politician in the East for some time and then went to Europe under refugee status to seek asylum. Such a statement is sufficient for him to obtain permanent residency.
ස්විට්සර්ලන්තයට හෝ වෙනත් රටක යුරෝපීය රටකට ගිහිල්ලා refugee status අනාථයෙක් විදියට ඒ පුරවැසිභාවය ඉල්ලා සිටින තැනැත්තෙක්. මේ වගේ ප්‍රකාශයක් කිරීමත් ප්‍රමාණවත් උට සමහරලාට.
Former lawmaker Mujibur Rahman speaking to reporters on Thursday commented on the Easter Sunday terror attacks.
විශේෂයෙන්ම දැන් ශානි අබේසේකර මේ පරීක්ෂණ කරපු කණ්ඩායමේ හිටපු ප්‍රධානියා ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයට දිවුරුම් පෙස්සමක් ලබා දීලා එයා කරුණු රාශියක් හෙළිදරව් කරනවා.
Shani Abesekara was the former lead detective in this investigation. In an affidavit to the Supreme Court, he disclosed information. He made a special disclosure about the killing of 2 policemen in Vaunathivu. On November 30th, 2018, it was reported to them that the killings were carried out by the LTTE. After Zaharan's crew carried out the attacks, a person was arrested, which led to the discovery that the 2 policemen were in fact killed by Zaharan's crew. Was there an investigation into why false information was fed? We are not aware of that. There is another important matter. The FBI has provided information about a person who was in contact with Zaharan.
ඒ පුද්ගලයාව අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්ත ගමන් හමුදා බුද්ධ්‍යංශය කියන ඒකේ ඉන්න උසස් නිලධාරියෙක් මෙයාව පරීක්ෂණ.
Based on that information, this person was arrested. Minutes after his arrest, a senior official from military intelligence takes him away, stating that he cannot be subject to any investigation and cannot be detained. Thereafter, they identified the person who used the pseudonym Sonic. The Supreme Court was informed that there was no investigation on this person. Shani Abesekar also said that there was no investigation into the person who Jamil spoke to over the phone after exiting the Taj Samudra Hotel. Based on the stalled nature of the probe, the former Attorney General said this could be a conspiracy. Azad Maulana is making statements with links to these events. Pillayan is not dismissing these claims as false. In the past, certain people were arrested claiming to be the masterminds of this attack. Based on whose requirements were they arrested? If those claims were true, why were unrelated people portrayed as the masterminds? That is why we always said that the investigations were misdirected to conceal the true mastermind based on someone's request. lost.
Fernando, අයි මේ මනුෂ්‍ය නායකකාරයි කියපු දේවල් තමයි දැන් අසත් මෞලානා ඇවිල්ලා කියන්නේ. වෙන මොකවත් නෙමෙයි. මේ පිළිබඳව සාධාරණ පරීක්ෂණයක්. පිළිගන්න පුළුවන් පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න ඕනේ.
Azad Maulana is repeating what Harini and Manusha Nanayakara had been saying all along. A proper acceptable investigation is required. Azad Maulana says that a person told him to escort the bomber who was at the Taj Samudra. So if you scrub through the phone records of Azad Maulana, one can determine if there was a phone call or not, as well as from where did the phone call originate. Therefore, why is the government on panic mode? They are reprimanding Channel 4. Azad Maulana is being termed as a crook. However, Pillayan, who is responsible for the Arantalava massacre, the attack of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic, the massacre of 600 policemen, and attacks on the Sinhala and Muslim villages in the eastern province, is a saint. So with such a mindset, the truth cannot be ascertained.
ආර පිරිසුදු චරිතයක්. අසත් මෞලානා පට්ට හොරෙක්. ඒක තමයි ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඉතින් ඔය මහානිසිකත්වයේ ඉඳගෙන මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඇත්ත යථාර්ථය හොයන්න බෑ.
Chief incumbent of the Mihintale Rajamaha Vihara, Venerable Valava Hangunavave Dhammaratana Thero, speaking at a media briefing, commented on certain revelations said to be made by the State Intelligence Service.
Today they are saying that 500 venerable Theras have been trained and that preparations are being made to use them to stage hunger strikes. We saw this in the media. The State Intelligence Service has uncovered these details. They're also saying that a political party is involved. The State Intelligence Service is saying this.
අරහත් දජේ යොදාගෙන මොනෑම් හෝ සිද්ධියක් කළොත් මේ රට දෙවනි පාස්කුවක් බවට පත් වෙලා හුදකලා බවට පත් වෙන එක වළක්වන්න බෑ. කවුද මේ?
Who trained these 500 venerable Theras? What were they trained for? Is the government preparing to create violence in the country? Are they going to attack churches, Kovills or Buddhist temples? The State Intelligence Service should reveal as to which political party these people are affiliated to. A person who had many court cases against him becomes president. The lawyer who appeared for his cases becomes the Minister of Justice. Channel 4 has made a revelation regarding the Easter Sunday attack. Although they say that they don't take responsibility for this, this person who had many court cases against him after he became president appoints this controversial person as the head of the State Intelligence Service. The judge goes to court along the road while the accused gets to court in a helicopter. This is a country like that. These people want power, even if it means to kill and walk over people's corpses. Do not be fooled.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa, speaking in Parliament on Wednesday, commented on the influence exerted by the executive on the judiciary.
The president, the government and those representing the government have at many times brought up privilege issues and exerted influence on the judiciary. When ministers representing the government raised privilege issues, the speaker himself responded by saying that domestic debt restructuring can only be done by parliament. After exerting influence, they are treated for a meal in Nuwara. An influence on the judiciary is exerted during conferences as well. What is the result of all of this? Recently, for the first time, a Supreme Court justice openly spoke out about the influence on the judiciary. When the government is operating in this manner, the fundamental rights of the people are openly violated. You, as a lawyer, are well aware of the plans that are afoot to transfer the judges who are unbiased. Is the government dismissing the claim made by Justice Nawaz? Today, judges in courts are openly saying not to fear to deliver unbiased rulings. Why was the country taken to this position?
The Inland Revenue Amendment Bill was passed in Parliament by a majority vote.
103 MPs voted in favour of the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill, while 58 voted against it. The bill entails a provision to impose a 30% tax on the bonds received by pension funds, including ETF and the EPF, if they are not agreed to be reissued as new bonds during the domestic debt optimization process.
Executive Director of Verite Research, Dr. Nishan Dimel, commented on the proceedings in Parliament today regarding the superannuation funds, including the EPF and the ETF. Posting on X, formerly known as Twitter, Dr. Demel said, "Today Parliament, not heeding analysis, will pass a bill putting a tax gun to the head of the EPF trying to force voluntary bond exchange." He added, quote unquote, "The Monetary Board would be wrong to accept it." He questioned this decision and said, should it not make the analytical basis public and open to prior external scrutiny first? On the same topic, a protest took place close to the road leading to Parliament against the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill that will impose a tax of 30% on superannuation funds that do not participate in the domestic debt optimization process.
The National Trade Union Centre protested at the Poldua Junction along the Parliament entry road on Thursday evening.
Ranil and the group of thieves are hiding behind the constitution and looting public funds. They are looting the employee funds under the guise of domestic debt restructuring. Ranil, Rajapaksa and Nandalal are destroying the pittance that are left for working people after they retire. Ranil and the Rajapaksas can pass bills, but this is the people's opposition. The trade union movement will continue to struggle to protect public funds by establishing a people-centered government or by defeating this. We will not stop till then. You may disregard our opposition and pass the bill in Parliament, but this government is on its last chapter. We will end it. They are preparing to destroy the employees' retirement funds. If Ranil and the Rajapaksas looted and wasted the loans they obtained and are now asking the working class of the country to pay for it, we will not allow it.
The protesters later attempted to march towards Parliament.
This is the biggest theft in the world. We are trying to inform the Speaker to stop it. You are carrying out your duty and we are doing ours. Let us go or provide security for us.
The protesters dispersed thereafter.
We will continue this struggle until the people are victorious and the looting is put to a stop.
The 16th International Research Conference of the General Sri John Kothalavala Defence University commenced on Thursday.
The 16th International Research Conference of the General Sir John Kothalavala Defence University commenced on Thursday at the auditorium of the Faculty of Graduate Studies. Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, delivered the keynote address.
As part of the IMF program, the government is also engaged with domestic and foreign creditors on debt restructuring. These are other challenges that we had to face because of the unsustainable debt levels. We had to restructure our external and domestic debt obligations. The domestic debt optimization program, which is underway, and we would hope that it would be completed pretty soon so that there is a relief for the government and retain the sustainability, first domestic and then external through the negotiations. Without having a proper banking sector, finance sector, economy can never exist, and this will be a worse situation if there is an unstable finance system. We have seen inflation sharply decelerating. We expect a gradual recovery from the second half of 2003 onwards in terms of growth and recovery of the economy. This is to be underpinned by the steady improvements seen in trade, work remittances, tourism sector, and of course the stable exchange rate, which has recorded over 12% appreciation. This have culminated in a gradual build-up of official reserves that was not available last year, now reached to $3.8 billion as of in July, compared to 1.7 billion we had in August last year. So we have already seen some sign of recovery, and we strongly believe that the economy will gradually recover from its deepest economic contraction in 2022, supported by the stabilization of inflation, positive outlook for the external sector, the balance of payment, and restoration of debt sustainability, which is the most important part, with the government's expansive and comprehensive fiscal consolidation that to reach fiscal surplus, primary surplus 2.3% over a medium term that seeks to improve revenue while rationalizing and containing expenditure and undertaking several structural reforms as a third pillar of the reforms.
The conference is being held on Thursday and Friday under the theme Achieving Resilience Through Digitalization, Sustainability and Sectoral Transformation.
Gammadda laid the foundation stone on Thursday to construct a project that will help build a healthy generation for the future of Sri Lanka.
This is the Katiyape Kanishta Vidyalaya in Mathura. This school opened in the year 1960. Since then, one of the main issues faced by the children here that no one could solve is the lack of access to clean drinking water. For decades, the students from this school were forced to walk long distances just to get some water. Gammadda identified this perennial issue and decided to intervene and solve it for the student population in the area.
Your service will assist these parents to carry on with their lives. Gammadda has taken the initiative to complete many social service projects. Therefore, many people are making donations to Gammadda because of the variety, transparency and success of these projects.
The Engineers Association at the National Engineering Research and Development Centre joined hands with Gammadda for this project.
We had a strong need to carry out a social service project. We selected this out of those proposals. The main aim was to assist children of this country to uplift their education. We conducted various surveys on how we can do it and which areas we can focus on. This is when we joined hands with Gammadda.
The project will ensure that children have access to clean drinking water inside their school premises itself.
Gammadda, for the people, by the people.
Everyone in Sri Lanka is going through a tough time.
The hardships faced by Sri Lankans are only aggravated by the drought that is affecting several parts of the island.
Gammadda's program to distribute dry rations to these people affected by the drought in a bid to ease their burden continued for the fourth day today.
Dry rations were distributed among several families in the Gotaimbara Gama in Angunukola Palasa in the Hambantota district. Gammadda teams also visited Pallama, Muangala and several other villages that fall under the Damana Divisional Secretariat in the Ampara district. Gammadda also assisted residents of several villages in the Badulla district, including the Tavalave Gama, Eruma, Katukumburana and Maduella. Dry rations were also distributed among families in Puambe, Elarava and Patyagoda villages in the Bibila Elavala division of the Monaragala district. Gammadda teams also visited the Gothami Gama village in Katharagama. Residents of Shravastipura, Alutveva and Idogama in the Nachiaduva agrarian settlement in Anuradhapura were also given a helping hand by the Gammadda movement.
Divisavya, the second leg of the Divisavya program to provide much needed school books and stationery items to school children in Sri Lanka. 8th of September, Capital level.
දයි දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය වෙනුවෙන් දිවිසවිය LOLC ප්‍රජාසත්කාරක මෙහෙවර.
News first with the people.
In more local news, the motion of no confidence against Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwalla was debated in Parliament for the second day.
In 2020, we warned about the COVID pandemic and it was disregarded. The government did not have the funds to source the vaccines. Until they got the vaccines, the government told the people to consume the Dhammika tonic. You also consumed it in Parliament. You can tell us later how it tasted. Pots were thrown into the Kalni River. Such was the response by the government to this issue.
SP Pharma කියන කම්පැනියට
SP Pharma was allowed to import drugs on the 17th and the 24th of May. The director has repeatedly sent letters citing the allergic reactions. I will table these documents. A 2-year-old child died after this drug was administered. When India banned the manufacturer, Sri Lanka is importing drugs from that same manufacturer.
307 drugs were imported from India and one of them failed the quality test. The average figure for a decade is around 80 per year. This is not amusing. If you can guarantee that propofol caused a death, I will surrender to your terms.
Specialist doctors have announced that the small child died after the anesthetic was administered. There is also an endotoxin report. So with regard to the bupivacaine drug, where is the anesthetic consultant in this technical evaluation committee? You can cover this up. But why did you allow the CEO of the NMRA to recall it? What action was taken?
Please produce the death certificate stating that propofol was the cause of death.
Did you visit the residents of Chamudi? Did you visit the residents of Kalupahana? They have not been issued with a death certificate.
Please do not lie. I have checked this from the director in Peradeniya. This is a lie.
I have no reason to lie. The secretaries are lying to you. You run to that section for each question that I raise. Do not do that. Those people will be in cages under the criminal law. Do not be deceived by them. There is a motion of no confidence against you because of the offences committed by these officials.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe is expected to leave for Cuba next week to attend the Group of 77 or G77 summit in Havana.
Current challenges of development, role of science, technology and innovation is the central theme of the upcoming event in Cuba to be held on the 15th and 16th of September. President Ranil Wickremesinghe received an official invitation to participate in the summit of the Group of 77 plus China from Cuban President Miguel Diaz, the current chair of the summit.
Air Arabia Abu Dhabi is adding a new non-stop link between the United Arab Emirates and Sri Lanka from early next year as it continues to expand its route map further east.
Air Arabia Abu Dhabi plans to make Colombo's Bandar Naik International Airport, serving Sri Lanka's capital, the 34th destination in its network from the 3rd of January 2024. Flights from Abu Dhabi International Airport will operate 3 times per week using Airbus A320 aircraft. Etihad Airways will also resume non-stop daily flights between the destinations in December, replacing its current one-stop routing via Mali, Maldives. Once operations begin, Air Arabia Abu Dhabi will become the sole provider of low-cost capacity between Abu Dhabi and Sri Lanka. Rival Wizz Air Abu Dhabi previously announced plans to connect Abu Dhabi International Airport and Matala Rajapaksa International Airport in the south of Sri Lanka from June 2022, but the route failed to materialize.
MTV Channel Private Limited secured the Sri Lanka broadcast rights for the 2023 Rugby World Cup and the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup.
The official announcement was made in Colombo on Thursday.
The senior management of the Capital Maharaja Group, officials from Sri Lanka Cricket, journalists among others were present at the head office of the Capital Maharaja Group in Colombo for the official announcement on the Sri Lanka broadcast rights for the 2023 Rugby World Cup and the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. The announcement was made by Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group, Shivan Daniel.
We are here today for something special. Cricket is like a religion in Sri Lanka. MTV Channel Private Limited has associated itself with cricket for decades. With commitment, we are pleased to announce that the Limited Overs Cricket World Cup Sri Lanka broadcasting rights were secured by MTV Channel Private Limited.
මේක මේ එකපාරට වෙච්ච දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. පසුගිය අවුරුද්දේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ පැවැත්වුණා T20 2020 ලෝක කුසලාන තරඟාවලිය.
This is not something that happened overnight. The T20 World Cup took place in Australia last year. We secured the broadcasting rights for that. We will also bring the Men's Cricket World Cup to the fans as well. Ahead of that, we will also bring the action from the Rugby World Cup starting from tomorrow after securing the Sri Lankan broadcasting rights. Within the past 1 year, a series of major sporting events were brought to the sports fans of Sri Lanka by us. If I am to comment on the Cricket World Cup, it will take place for a month and the final will be on the 18th of November. All 48 games will be telecast by MTV Channel Private Limited.
සියලුම තරඟ 48ම ඔබ වෙත ගෙන එන්නට සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලය බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන සිටිනවා.
MTV Channel is the premium and most impactful TV broadcaster in our country, covering almost all demographical areas in the country in all 3 languages. I think they have ideally placed themselves as the national sports channel of our country. Maharaja Group, in coming forward in recent times to obtain the rights for the T20 World Cup qualifiers, Ireland and Pakistan inbound tours in Sri Lanka, and of course now the Asia Cup. And this adequately demonstrates their renewed passion. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the President and members of the Executive Committee, and we in our turn would like to assure you our support and assistance at all times.
Association of Capital Maharaja Group with cricket and sports in general has been very long, but we understand that if there is one thing that unites the country, it is sports. And cricket, definitely, it's like a religion in this country. And we would not be doing our duty if we do not, promote and make it reach to the people of Sri Lanka. And we had the third channel available, TV1, where we have invested money in terms of making it, being able to transmit and broadcast signals all over the island. Now this channel has become truly a full-fledged infotainment channel.
The MTV Channel Private Limited Media Network secured the 2022 FIFA World Cup TV broadcast rights for Sri Lanka.
Of the world! And in 2022...
As well as the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2022. MTV Channel Private Limited also secured the broadcasting rights for the 2023 ICC Men's Cricket World Cup qualifier in Zimbabwe, the Sri Lanka Island Test Series and the Sri Lanka Pakistan Test Series as well. It was MTV Channel Private Limited that also brought Sri Lankan sports fans all the action from the ICC World Test Championship finals between India and Australia and the Asia Cup. MTV Channel Private Limited also secured the Sri Lanka broadcasting rights for the Rugby World Cup played for the Webb Ellis Trophy that will start on Saturday, as well as the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup that will commence on the 5th of October. Both World Cups will come to Sri Lankan sports fans live on TV1.
And that's a wrap of primetime news on TV1 for tonight.
I'm Naveksha Gunasekar for the News First team. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.